My grandfather used to general manage the Chicago Hornets, which was the football team before the Bears.
Hello and welcome to Chiaspora. I'm your host, Marc Morgan. This is the show where we interview those who left Chicago, but Chicago never left them. Today, a good friend tipped me off that I did not know you were from Chicago, which is really cool. If you are watching Narcos now, specifically the Mexican season, this man is on it. You will have seen him. This is Clark Freeman. You will also check. I saw you on clips of NCIS. It's one of those things where once in a while I'll check stuff and like there you are. So congratulations on getting that gig.
Thank you.
Narcos, it's funny because, for me personally, I had to go back and watch some of these episodes prior to you coming on because in a sad way, I watched the first season, loved the first season, second season, and it literally was time. As we've talked about, is that we both have children.
Small children and Narcos do not mix.
Right. And especially when Oscar time comes around, I go through screeners. Like I stop all the shows. Yep. So Narcos stopped, but I was actually excited because an amazing cast. You like this season, everything is like top notch. It's just I kind of want to have to like go hardcore and watch everything now because it seems like a really great season.
Tis the season.
Tell us about your character because you play. It's not like it's a politician or it's like somebody
quasi. He's kind of in the middle.
Right.
I play Ed Heath, who's a real guy in real life, still alive. He was the DEA attaché for Mexico in Mexico City for over 10 years.
Yes.
And definitely during the Kiki Camarena incident, I'll say, which was basically all of season one, when Felix Gallardo made the first cartel, kind of brought them together, and then Kiki was a little too overzealous and poked the badger with the spoon,
right? And
ended up getting killed. Spoiler. And
you mean history?
Yeah, history. Google it.
Google it.
And so my character was the guy down there that was kind of keeping the status quo when Kiki came along. It's like we need to do this and we need to get him, and like.
Right.
DA agents should. I was kind of like, just calm down.
Yeah,
calm down.
Course.
Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should just hang out and all be cool. And seeing where the drug war is at today, one could argue that maybe they should have listened to Ed Heath, and not set off the firestorm.
Now, if you go to Mexico, good luck. It's crazy. But by the way, it all stems from essentially the story.
Yeah.
All those drug cartels. I actually, for the History Channel, there were a few like. You ever heard of a show back in the day called Gangland? You ever heard of Gangland?
I think so.
It was a History Channel show.
I don't watch a lot of History Channel.
No. At the time, I didn't either, but I worked at it, so I learned about all these like gangs, and it's scary. It's like it's. I mean, you know about it in the news now, but like just
how
knowing
much power they have,
it's everything.
How they're all
police.
Everything.
Every police officer is corrupt. It's just.
I mean, I got pulled over coming from set one day this past season in Mexico City, and it was.
Is that where you filmed?
Oh yeah, the whole thing was filmed. I mean,
wow!
It was filmed mostly in Mexico City, and then a small town about an hour and a half flight north of Mexico City called San Luis Potosí, which is where the drug field is. Where they grow the thousands of acres, and then also in Puerto Vallarta. They shot there too. I mean, the Narcos shot there, and then none of us gringos shot there.
Right.
That was fun.
Yeah, you get shot there.
But no, it's dangerous. We had a location scout. Before the season ever started filming, got killed.
What?
Working for Netflix.
Was it like was it known? Was it like on Dateline?
Oh, yeah. I don't watch much Dateline either. But
I mean the what is it called?
It was
not Dateline.
On the AP, was on the news. It was on everything. That, location scout for Narcos gets gunned down. He basically stumbled into some place he shouldn't have been, and there were Narcos there, and they wrong place, wrong time. I think part of the reason it didn't get as much airplay, it was a Mexican guy. It wasn't a white guy. The world we live in.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think Netflix took a moment and said, well, let's pump the brakes here and see, like, is the show that important? Do we need to make the show?
Yeah, people are going to have to die.
People are actually dying now. And
wow.
I think they made the right choice, not only for this guy so he can be remembered for the work he did, but also the story needs to be told. Diego Luna says, our lead, he says, this is the Mexico I grew up in, and we need to tell the story, and it needs to be out there. And how he puts it is, anytime you're at a party and you blow a line of Coke up your nose, just
think about where that came from.
Think about where that came from, and think about how many people probably died to get it to you. And, recreational drug use, I'm not judging that. Do what you want. But if you're going to be doing the cocaine, just know where it came from.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You're on set with another Chicagoan. Michael Pena's from Chicago.
Dude, I was a replacement season 1. There was another actor, Nat Faxon, who was playing Ed Heath.
Nat Faxon, I've met Nat.
He's amazing.
Amazing.
And he had shot 2 episodes and went off to do another show. And then by the time they got back to him during the season, because Narcos takes almost a year to shoot. It's a very long process. And by the time they got back to him, the other show wouldn't let him go. So he was like, guys, I'm so sorry. I can't come back to Narcos. Like, my bad. Bye. And so I got a call on a Friday morning being like, Clark, can you come in and read for this part?
Who called you? It was just a casting
director? My buddy, actually, who was the brother of the showrunner. I knew that Eric Newman, who's the showrunner. Mm-hmm. I've known him for a long time because I'm really good friends with his brother, Johnny, who ended up being a writer on season 2 of Narcos Mexico. So I got a call at 7 a.m. I'm making breakfast for the kids. And my buddy Johnny calls in and he goes, my brother's having trouble filling this role. Would you mind coming in? I'd auditioned for him for another role. And Eric's like, you were great. You're not right for the role, but we'd love to have you come back at some point. I said, great. I hear that a lot.
Yeah. Welcome to like the acting world.
Exactly. You're great. I'll call you later. And I'm like, why am I staring at my phone?
I'm still cooking eggs.
I'm still cooking eggs. And so a call came in at 7 a.m. By 10 a.m., I was in the Valley in Carla Hull's office. And she's like, oh, my God, thank you for coming in. Just do this scene. I was like, oh, okay. I did the scene. And by 3 o'clock, I had the offer.
Wow.
And then I was on a plane Monday morning for like 2 weeks in Mexico.
Welcome. See, what's funny, what people don't understand, especially people from Chicago, literally acting could be almost like being a plumber. It's the idea of like someone just needs you. Uh-huh. If you could just do the job, and believe it or not, you think Hollywood is all, you have to have this. No, sometimes it's like just show up.
Yep.
Crazy stuff happens.
I mean, that being said, I've been acting since I was 10 in Chicago. So it's not like a new thing, but you do have to be ready.
Yes.
You never know. I mean, not only like acting wise, but like family situation. You need to be solid so that.
It's like an athlete getting traded.
Exactly. You need to get traded to another team. You need to be on the court the next night and go. So I showed up the first night, and there I am sitting across from over dinner because we were in this place, San Luis Potosi, where there's Humvees driving around with machine gun. Like it's not safe for us. So like us actors, we would just hole up in the hotel and kind of hang out. Yeah. And it was Michael and me and Matt Lesher and Aaron Statt, like the DEA guys were all hanging out. And I'd never met Michael Pena before, but we're sitting there, and 5 minutes in, he's like, "You from Chicago?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm from Chicago." I'm like, "Oh yeah." We're a year apart. We're both drummers, and we sat there and argued over triplets about like Phil Collins, "Can you feel it coming in the air tonight?" versus like a Pixies song, and we have all, we were like, "No, it's like this," I'm like, what am I doing here, and why am I talking to Michael Pena about drum fills?
Like, so you didn't even know he's from Chicago. That's cool.
No, I had no idea, and I was wondering when we were talking. I'm like, why haven't we met before?
Yeah, because it's a small world, the Chicago world.
It's a small world. I realized it's because he's never done theater. Because he was talking about that on set. He's like, I've never done theater. Should I do theater? And of course, all of us other actors are all theater guys. We're like, yes, dude, and you could rent any theater you wanted in Los Angeles and fill it every night if you were doing something there. So yes, go do it.
Yeah.
And he'd only done film and TV.
It's funny is my friend. I've not met Michael yet. One day, hopefully, I hope I can bring him onto this show. But it's funny because my buddy, who's a casting director, got Michael into the door in Chicago. That's how it started. My buddy was like, "Dude, you have something," and he just drove him around to auditions. So Michael. That's impressive. Next time, if you ever talk to him, Sam Ramos, my buddy.
Sam Ramos, you owe everything to him.
Yeah. No, but it's cool. It's just like, it's a very small world. Yeah. And this show has made it much smaller in the Chicago world, which is funny.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. So you obviously clicked on that.
Yeah, no, we everyone was awesome. I fell into, it's like falling into a dream team. Like you said earlier, the actors, all the actors in the show are amazing.
That's cool.
And of course, I'm...
Yeah, well, no, you
just myself a little.
No. You hold your own. You hold your own. You definitely like. Believe it or not, it's funny when you do see new actors or people. You're like Michael Pena. I've seen many movies.
Yeah,
right. So when you watch other people, you're like, wow, they hold it. like you almost don't think about it. If you have to think about it, you know there's something weird.
Yeah.
You did a great, like it was, you were part of the story.
That's why I came here.
Yeah, so just for compliments. That's it. No, but your kids called me. They told me what's up. The 6-year-old's like, look, Mark, you got to inflate my dad's ego.
It's like my dad needs help.
Yeah.
Please.
His eggs aren't doing so well, so just keep working at them. So let's retrack back.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Like specifically in the city? Where'd you go to school?
Yeah. I was born February 21st at Northwestern Hospital.
Cool. In the city.
In the city. And I grew up right there on your backdrop.
Like downtown?
Walton and Lakeshore.
Really?
Yeah, right at the...
What did your parents do that you lived like
they were
in the
both
city?
lawyers.
I see.
My grandparents lived around the corner, and my dad and my mom and my grandfather all worked as lawyers together in the same firm. Small independent firm. Freeman and Salzman. That was at the 401 Lakeshore building right on the river.
That's
right
cool.
Right across from the Wrigley building.
Is this still there?
They closed the firm when my mom, just dropping in the story. No, they shut down the firm when my mom basically wanted to go to Montana full time, and I'll get there.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, it was after I finished college, I think.
Okay.
They closed the firm. But yeah, my grandfather started it back in the day, and they did big cases like the yellow cab case was famous for them. I don't know. My dad watched what's that show, Boss?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, that's about the other guy and this and that." And he just like started talking about. I'm like, "Okay, Dad, calm down."
We got it. You've been there.
Yeah. You need to just make me a flow chart, and then we'll talk about all
the org chart,
all the corruption that you know about, and I will
Chicago.
make sure not to use your name.
That's so
no. So yeah, I grew up in the city right there. I lived in the same apartment on Walton Street my entire life there.
Wow.
I went to Latin school.
Okay.
In Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
My brother and sister are also both actors, and
out here.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, you know my sister definitely. Do you watch The Righteous Gemstones?
No. Is that the one with
Danny McBride?
Someone just maybe it was the same person.
Matt.
Wait, Chrissy? Was your sister?
Cassidy.
Yeah.
I'm sure Matt.
Because Matt mentioned both of you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen the show yet, but he mentioned it to me because I heard of it because of Danny McBride, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, she plays Danny McBride's wife on the show.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, she's done a bunch. She was on Smallville for 3 years, and then did Longmire for 6 years.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've seen her.
Oh, I've no doubt you've seen her. She's all over the place.
Well, congrats, that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And then my brother's a voice actor, so if you play any video games or see anything, you've heard him.
Gotcha. You guys done all right.
Yeah, so we all started in theater.
From a family of lawyers.
Well, lawyers are just frustrated actors. So
right.
It all makes perfect sense. Yeah, no, parents were lawyers there. We all went to Latin school. My brother went to Williams College. My sister and I both went to Middlebury College in Vermont.
Oh, wow. So it was like a liberal arts school, yeah?
Cold before we decided to come to warm and stay.
Was it for theater? Like what?
It was for theater.
Okay.
It was.
Okay.
I mean, we went for theater.
But it's funny you gravitated to L.A., not New York.
My brother was on Broadway in New York as I was finishing college, and he was definitely doing the New York thing.
So he's older?
He's older.
Okay.
Sister's younger. And I always knew I was going to do, I was focusing on movies when I was younger, but I always knew I was going to do movies and TV. Mm-hmm. But grew up in the theater because I think that's how you learn.
Of course. Everyone always starts.
That's how you build your instrument. So I went to school for theater and learned the craft of theater, and I worked at Steppenwolf and Chicago Shakespeare Rep, and a lot of theaters in the city. And but then I always knew I was coming out here. But my brother followed me shortly after. I couldn't go to New York. I'd followed in my brother's footsteps enough. I didn't want him to go to New York and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm his brother again. Hi everyone." Yeah. So I had done some commercial work in high school and had got my SAG card when I was 17, 18.
Wow, that's cool.
Over at Harpo Studios back when Chicago just pumped out commercials. It was a great place to do commercials and get your feet wet a little.
That's what I knew it as.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work, when I started up, I was doing internships at like post houses that used to do crazy amounts of VO and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently that's all like gone, which is crazy.
Well,
his commercial work
and work in general has kind of dried up and gotten weird. I mean, it's only 30 or 40% of it left is done union.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's yes.
That whole awful shift, and you're like, no, come back.
Right.
No, I'm really glad I was in Chicago at the time I was, because you could get that work, and you were constantly. I mean, I was in high school, so I was like, no, I have a basketball game. I can't go to this audition. My agent's like, come on. Stop being 16, 17.
Right.
My sister actually got me my first agent. She's precocious. And she was like 11. And she was like, I guess she went on an open call with a friend of hers and then came back and was like, hey, this is what I want to do. And went to my mom and said, I want to get an agent. And my mom was like, go ahead. And so she walked down the street to Suzanne's A+ was the agency. Walked in. This cute blonde hair.
At 11.
Buck-toothed 11-year-old.
Who is
this
this
is also
kid?
when...
Yeah, you could just walk
down the street in Chicago.
It's so funny because nowadays you can't do anything with until you're like 45 and you're still holding your mom's hand or something like that.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Crazy. But yeah, so she goes down the street.
So she walks in this agent and has a picture, and it like walks up to not like a headshot, but like a family picture.
Oh,
like
she drew herself.
She drew herself, self-portrait.
This is the Mona Lisa.
And she went to like the receptionist. It was like, will you be my agent? And this dude was like, what is going on right now? So it was kind of cute, whatever. And sure enough, he introduced her to the agent. And they were like, yes. Like, you came in, show us some pictures. And she had a picture, and I was in one of them because it was like our Christmas picture. And she was like, does your brother still have long hair? And my sister's like, yeah. So she came home. And she's like, Clark, you have an audition tomorrow. And I was like, playing Sega or something. Like, what? And I went in. It was for a modeling job, and I booked it. And as soon as I booked it, the agency was like, well, we want you too. And
I'm glad it was you too. It wasn't like, your sister can stay home.
Your sister did the legwork for us, and we found you.
Yeah, we'll give her a little spiff, but that's about it.
Oh, no, she did a great job too for them. I mean,
obviously she's out here now.
Yeah, she's doing it.
So, in order, sibling-wise, your brother's the oldest?
Crispin is the oldest.
And then
Clark, and then Cassidy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So your younger sister hooked that up for you. That's funny.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she used to give me Oreos too. You know?
Right. Yeah. Well, that was by force. Yeah. I was like, look, I'm hungry.
I know. Yeah. It's just coaxing. Come on, be a good little sister and go get me some Oreos.
Dude, that's awesome. It's good. That's pretty cool. That's a funny start.
It's a funny start.
So you went to Latin. You were doing basketball, apparently.
Oh man,
you're a big sports guy.
Yeah, you grow up in Chicago while Jordan is there,
and you're a tall dude too.
You have to play basketball. Yeah. No, that's all we did. I think that's all I did. Was like theater stuff, some school. I don't even remember doing homework ever. I remember if I wasn't at school or like at the East Bank Club or somewhere just playing ball constantly.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. I got recruited to play D3 ball at Middlebury, and I remember I got accepted in February, so I didn't start till February. And I'd missed the basketball season. And the coach was like, don't worry, we'll redshirt you, and then you'll play the next season. So play with the guys now, and they just play pickup games. I'm like, yeah, done.
Really?
So I played ball for a while, and then I was like, okay, coach, I can't really make these games so much anymore because I've got rehearsal. And he's like, what? And I'm like, oh, I'm a theater major. And he's like, no, you're not. And I'm like,
not anymore.
I guess this is when I stopped my basketball career. What am I going to do? Like give up acting for D3 ball?
Well, some people would, believe it or not.
Not me.
No, usually not at Middlebury either. I feel like if you go to Middlebury, there's like a reason
for their theater program. You're not going to be like, you know what, guys, I had a change of heart. I'm going to play some ball.
Yeah, but did you get recruited to go to any other colleges potentially to go play basketball?
Dear God, no. It was just Middlebury. I think because the school was interested. And I honestly played basketball because...
This is fun.
Because we didn't have a football team. And I would just set picks and just hit people. That's why I like to play basketball. I was like, we don't have a football team. I'll just set the best pick I possibly can.
Dude, I understand. But I do that as a short guy. I'm just kind of like, if I can't like go post up, I'm just going to set picks. So.
Yeah. I couldn't really post up either.
By the way, believe it or not, I actually really attribute the idea of setting picks is a very Chicago thing. If you come out here, like I play with young guys out here.
Oh no,
I'm just running.
Yeah.
No one cares.
There's like when I start setting, just roll.
Yeah. No one knows what you're talking about. It's so fun. I don't know if it's an age gap thing or if it's just like the idea of like showboating. Because back in Chicago, you set your pick, you play defense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just different. 90s Bulls.
That's 90. Yeah, I usually play the triangle on a pickup.
Yeah. Triangle, Phil. Thanks to Phil. We got some good triangle. No, it's about getting Scotty and Jordan open for their shot.
That's right.
Like set the pick.
Yeah, Luke Longley wasn't the guy.
No. But Horace Grant could set a pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to talk sports because it's cool, but I still want to kind of like figure out though. I always like to know when people realize that they're going to be okay. They don't have to necessarily, choose another profession. So
sell the kidneys.
Well, once in a while you might need to do that too. So what happens? You went to Middlebury.
Uh-huh.
You obviously were doing theater. You move out by yourself to LA.
At that point, when I first came out to LA, I drove out with my good friend and still collaborator, Andy Mitten, who was a couple years younger than me in Middlebury. But he came out that summer. I actually went out to San Francisco first.
Okay.
And lived there for a couple months to play in a band and to work for a video game magazine. That lasted maybe 2 months, if that. And most of it was just marijuana smoke. Well, because the job that we had lined up at this video game magazine that everyone in the house I was living with worked at, when I got there, 4 days after I got there, the whole company folded.
Wow.
And went back to Germany. So they all lost their jobs, including me, the job I had lined up. And I was like, well, and then we just stole all their beta testers for their video games. This is back in like Sega Dreamcast. Why am I talking video games? Anyway.
No, I was just curious because you moved out there. It seemed like you were going for theater.
For a sec. Oh, yeah. I don't know. It was kind of like
just an in-between?
Just an in-betweener, like get me out there. And then I always knew I was going to be in LA. I don't know why I was waiting. My buddy Andy came out with me for a summer, and we drove across the country together. And then I may have just been waiting for my sister to finish school. No, that couldn't have been it, because...
What's the year difference?
5.
Well, that would have been a long wait.
I don't know why. But she came out. She lived with me before she went to school. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
So we got our first place together.
Cool.
It's so long ago. It's like a lifetime ago. You try to have these memories. She moved in with me before college for like 6 months.
Uh-huh.
And then she left. And then I kept working and doing the thing. And then she actually came back. And then we moved in together again. And then she got her own place. And I got my own place. And so we were roommates and everything.
That's cool.
When I knew I was going to be okay, I always knew I was going to act.
What was your first gig out here?
Like job or like
acting gig? Well, I'm curious about the job stuff too. But
I worked for a television production company called Tall Pony Productions.
Okay.
That friends of ours ran. That did mostly musical televised specials.
Okay.
So like the radio, what was it? The Radio Music Awards.
Oh, sure.
I used to work with that. It was basically, they do an award show, but they were focused on televised live music. So that was a lot of fun. That was the day job to start. And I started as like a runner, in my van.
Well, in your 20s, you were just
hustling. It was the best way to learn the city.
Sure.
I had my Thomas guide and like cruising through the city, learning it that way. And
no one knows what that is.
I know. I was going to say Thomas guides. That's
GPS
myself.
prior to GPS.
Yeah,
yes.
before smartphones.
Or a smartphone. Yeah.
And then the first acting gig I booked out here was a show called Family Law with Tony Danza and some people, and it was a guest star on that. And shortly after that, there was a Screen Actors Guild strike, so work dried up a bunch. So
what year is this? Not to really date you, but I'm curious.
No.
Because you've been out here for a while, it seems.
Yeah, I came out in 2000. I've been here 20 years.
Okay, wow.
I was here when 9/11 happened. I remember that whole thing. The thing that got me out of bed for that, because we're 3 hours before.
Right.
My phone kept ringing, and again, this is before cell phones. It was in the other room, and I was probably hungover or something, and I didn't want to get up to get it because it's 6 a.m. And it keeps ringing and ringing and ringing, and my friend John Howard is on the phone, and he's yelling about something, and I don't know what is going on, but then he says something about the Sears Tower going down or something. And that popped me out of bed real quick. And I flew in the other room. I'm like, what are you talking about? And of course, nothing happened, but they were talking about all tall buildings that made.
Yeah.
And then I turned on the news, and that's when the second plane hit. And I was like, oh, Jesus.
I was in high school. I mean, not to totally date. I was in high school, and I had the same thing. Somebody was walking up the steps and was like, they hit the Pentagon. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, dude, they're going after the Sears Tower. I was like, what do you mean? I'm going to
Chicago's worst nightmare.
I'm going to poli-sci. I don't know what you're talking about right now. I got places to be, my friend. And it was just this, I don't know, at 16, I didn't sound like that, but it was just kind of this weird.
Like it's fine. Yeah.
Look, baby, I don't know what you're saying. Get off the pipe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just this, it was just a weird, yeah. But obviously being in LA, that must have been even weirder because it's like, it hit, obviously it hits home. Out here, they wouldn't know what to hit. They would be like, there's a little downtown. Maybe we'll go out. Forget it. It's too spread out.
Hit the Die Hard building. Hit the Die Hard building.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
No, actually, Matt was one of the guys that came over. My apartment at the time kind of that day opened, and all my friends.
Well, everybody always probably gathered together.
It became a gathering place, and a lot of my friends at that point were from Northwestern, so it was a lot of the Northwestern guys that would come over, and we'd have poker games, every couple weeks, and Matt was definitely one of them, and they all just. I don't know if it was 24 hours or 48 hours or however long.
You just all hung out.
People could sleep there. The TV was on constantly. Unless it wasn't. I think we played a poker game one point. I think that night we were like, we can't watch this anymore.
It was intense.
We're going crazy. Like, let's do something that we know that makes us happy that we can do. And I think we all got around the poker table again. And
that's cool. I mean, it was like that. People felt like they had to be close together because it was so very, for young people who have no idea what that was like, it was weird. It was weird. So let's move on topic from 9/11. So you're obviously you started hitting gigs, and then I mean, would you say that Family Law? From my recollection, that was actually like a decent show.
It was a decent, network show. But then, honestly, it dried up a bit, and we ended up. Andy and I started a theater company.
Oh,
and we ran a theater company in Santa Monica for almost 10 years, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was that like the bread and butter, like what you did? You taught?
Bread and butter. There's no money in theater, especially out
here.
I
meant like just like let me rephrase. Was it the thing that was your day, your daily hustle?
I was production head. That was my thing.
Cool.
We did 2 big main stage shows a year. We also did movies. We did music. We did art gallery showings. We did readings. We did all sorts of stuff. It was that thing. It's what we were trained to do. Growing up in Chicago in theater, going to Middlebury, doing theater, we were, theologians. This is what we were taught to do. And if the phone's not going to ring from our agents and things for here in LA, like, let's do what we know and let's practice. That was our big thing is we all need to do each thing. So not only did I act and stuff, but I also directed, I wrote, I produced. That's something you don't really get taught in a liberal arts, college education. You come here, do these shows. Oh, we have all these spaces for you. All the stuff that's actually hard in the real world we'll just give you and take for granted because you're a 20-year-old kid who just wants to, do some Sam Shepard or something. Right. But then you get in the real world and you're like, let's do a play. And they're like, where? Oh, a theater. Let's check out a theater. Okay, it's this much money to rent. Right. Like, oh God, how are we gonna raise that money? How are we gonna do that? And it was a lot of friends from Chicago that gave money and other theater people from Chicago. Wow. And I remember our first show. We did One Flea Spare. It was our first official show under we were called the Sight Unseen Theater Group, under that banner. And it did really well. It was a critic's pick for the LA Weekly. It was all these things. It was just down at the Santa Monica Playhouse. And I remember I got a call from the Geffen. They wanted to have a meeting with me because it had gotten on some critics picks list and stuff. And I was like, oh. Wow, okay.
That's cool.
So I went into the Geffen to have this meeting with Steve Ike, who was the head of it at the time. And I was like, that name rings a bell. And I'm walking through the offices at the Geffen, and some of the people look familiar. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm having serious deja vu. And then I get to Steve's office, I knock on the door, and the door opens, and there's Steve. He's finishing a meeting with, I don't know if he's still the head of it, but Randall Arney, who was an actor and a director at Steppenwolf that I had done a show with back at Steppenwolf.
So did this dude bring all of
his
crew?
So he opens the door and he's like, Clark, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, I moved to LA. Like, what? It had been years since I'd worked with him on this thing with Laurie Metcalf and Chris Fitzgerald and all these incredible actors. It was a tiny show, and I was just run crew. I wasn't even acting. I was just helping, and I was the one person backstage doing the run stuff. And
they remembered you.
Well, they'd heard about this show that happened, and they wanted to meet who was doing this cool, weird theater.
But they didn't know it was you.
They didn't know it was me until I got in there, and they were
That's
like,
cool.
"Oh, that's you!" And that's when David Geffen had just basically hired everyone at Steppenwolf and brought them out to L.A.
That's
because
cool.
he said, "I want the Geffen to be like Steppenwolf. Make theater like you do in Chicago, but here at my theater." And they had just gotten here. And this is 2004, maybe, and they were coming to ask me what I was doing to theater, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, you guys have a budget, you have marketing. Like,
right.
What
you
am
guys
I
are what I
doing?
was trying to emulate."
Yeah, I would love to work for you guys. Don't ask me what I'm doing. I'm on the corner handing out postcards, begging people to come see this show."
That's cool though, man.
Yeah, so then we did theater forever, and I, acting can be a grind. It's a grind.
Well, it can be. That's all it is.
Yeah. So, before Narcos and stuff, I was my wife's also from Chicago, and
Did you meet out here?
we met in Chicago.
Tell me that story real quick.
I hadn't been home in a couple of years, and my other
When is this?
2009.
Okay.
Yeah, 2009, I think. And my other brother from another mother invited me to come play this golf tournament for charity they were doing. And I hadn't been home in a while. I was like, yeah, I'd love to come play. Let's go do this. So I got home, and I made my stay like a week. And my other friend, James, he gets so mad now. I call him James. He's got to that age.
He's old
I'm
now.
no longer Jimmy, I'm
am
James. I'm like, that's going to be tough to change. James said, "Hey, it was Venetian night. You remember Venetian night? It was at the end of July. It was like a boat parade they used to do. They used to dress up the boats.
You mean like you're talking about like Navy Pier?
Right around Navy Pier, yeah.
Okay. Or is it like Lakeshore Driver? I don't even know.
Yeah, on LSD, but right, I don't know if it was north or south of Navy Pier. I think it was whatever. It was around Navy Pier.
Okay.
And my buddies had gone in together a couple years earlier and bought a boat, which I thought was crazy. But they were like, "Yeah, we're having this boat party. Come to this boat party. We're going to tie up with this other boat. Everyone's going to be there, blah, blah, blah." And my friend James had been dating this girl, Mary, for 2 or 3 years at this point. And I'd met Mary a couple times coming back into town. She's very nice. And so we go to this boat party, and I see James and Mary and everybody. And I meet Mary's sister, Megan, who... she wasn't even living in Chicago. She was living in Florida at the time, and she was also up visiting.
But she was from there originally.
She's from there
Chicago.
originally. Technically born here in L.A., and then a couple months old, moved back to Chicago. So she was raised in Chicago, as were her sisters. So we kind of hit it off, and of course my friend James is like, "No, don't you dare.
You're going to ruin this for me?
Hands off. You're going to F all this up." And yeah, so... but I talked him into it, and long story short, he married Mary the same year Megan and I got married. So now my good friend from high school is now my brother-in-law.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's a little nuts.
But here's the thing, though. There's got to be some awkwardness once in a while, because when you deal with family and friends and the in-laws, there's never any moment of like, "You didn't give me the right gift."
Dude, we were on the same basketball team. Like we...
You guys are like brothers almost.
Yeah, like we're already there. So it's actually better
That is so
at
cool.
Thanksgiving when we go back, because we get to just go off and, dick around. And it's like we're back in high school. Of course, my father-in-law was like, "You two, like..."
Hey.
Hey, do it. And that's exactly... Hey, Mike Beck here.
Look, you call him James. He's Jimmy to me, okay? Look, he's little Jimmy, okay?
Yeah.
And you guys come back thinking,
Jimmy.
It's going to be nice and warm. It ain't going to be that way.
My God, you do an incredible Mike Beck.
Did you or did you not buy me the rifle I asked for?
The squirrels. They're back.
No, but seriously, that's really cool. That's a cool little story. So, but your wife, what does she do?
She was a teacher.
Okay.
And now, thankfully, she's got some time to
take care of the kids
while I'm in Mexico.
Dude.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, congrats. That's a great story.
Thanks.
What year did you get married?
2011.
Okay.
So yeah, this year will be 9 years.
So I got married in 2010. I moved out in 2011 in September. And
nice.
It's been awesome, huh? It's cool. LA's fun.
No. LA takes at least a year
Yeah.
to like feel comfortable doing things.
Yeah,
The first year I lived here, like my biggest thing, I checked the mail. Like that was a big day for me. No, it takes a while. There are a lot of misconceptions about LA. People always say, "Oh, well, people are like this or people are like this," and I'm like, there are people like that everywhere. But LA, it just takes time to find your tribe, and you tend to, and it helps knowing people from Chicago.
I 100%
and you
agree.
tend to
You find your people,
yeah.
because people come from all over here. They're like, this is a melting pot of melting pot. So I 100% agree. I assume you go back for holidays and stuff like that here and there. Like you said, for Thanksgiving
over the summer.
So what do you do when you go back? What's your thing? Is it just hang out at the house?
It's hang out with the family, but it's usually eat. Like
of course.
There are places you have to hit.
Say it.
And you got I don't know. We Giordano's at least once, but now some places like Potbellies used to go like the first Potbellies, but now it's kind of everywhere, so that's kind of lost its charm.
But it's still good.
Oh no,
I wish they had it here.
I would still hammer a Potbellies roast beef right now. No, I don't know. There's little weird places.
Go ahead.
Like Rana, Japan.
Of course.
We used to go there all the time.
Which one, in the burbs or the one downtown?
Please, downtown. I walking distance from my house.
That's
we
right.
used to go there.
Well, I've done the one in Northbrook too a lot, and I love it. Rana, Japan.
So,
if you haven't done Rana, Japan, it's awesome. You'll smell like
like some sort of
you'll smell like meat
ashtray.
from like you will have to just wear like horrible clothes, like painting clothes.
If you lived in an ashtray where the cigars were made from egg yolk, then you would smell like Rana, Japan.
But dude, that egg yolk. Oh my god. That's the thing. Out here,
we're not dead.
Yeah, but dude, who cares? It's one of those things. It's so good. They have out here Benihana, right?
Well, yeah.
But Benihana doesn't do the egg yolk on thing, and I can't do it. I would go here all the time, but Benihana, it's not the same.
No. Benihana is like if you want to be nostalgic for like Ron, but then also cry and you're
because you're not
yeah, because you miss it so much.
Well,
yeah, I totally get it.
Well, if your fried rice doesn't have enough salt, you just tear one out there.
Into it.
But it's true. That egg yolk changes everything, and yes, it ruins your arteries. But it's so good. Where else? What else you got?
The House of the original House of Pancakes.
I don't know.
On Bellevue.
I don't know what that is.
There's one down south of me.
But there's one in Chicago?
There's two in Chicago. There's one in Lincoln Park, and there's one right at Bellevue, right next to my house, where I grew up. Oh my God, yeah, Dutch Babies and
the only like really big breakfast place was Walker Brothers in the Burbs.
Yeah, Walker Brothers is good. It's not original House of Pancakes.
All right,
Google it when we're done.
All right,
original House of Pancakes.
All right.
Again, it's a franchise. It's everywhere, but the ones in Chicago, there was always a line on Sundays and Saturdays, and in the winter, if you could see like how hardcore you were by how long you would stand in the cold before getting in this place.
That says something.
Yeah. Oh my God. My dad hates lines. He would stand in line there.
Are both your parents still around?
My dad's still around. My mom passed away in 2012. Sorry
to hear that.
That's okay.
But your dad.
My dad's straight up Chicagoan. I mean, I'm a third generation Chicagoan, so he grew up in Chicago too.
Where's your family originally from? Like history.
I mean, Russia. My dad was a dark-haired, dark-eyed Jew from Chicago, and my mom was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed shiksa from Texas. So we're total mutts. But that being said, it's like all Europe.
Yeah.
White Europe is where we're from originally. But my grandfather, New York and stuff. He moved to Chicago with my grandmother, and they lived around the corner from us on Lakeshore Drive.
Cool. What were your jobs when you were like a kid? Did you do jobs during high school or anything like that?
Yes and no. I mean, I worked at Tower Records and stuff for like 4 days before I was like, this isn't working with music. This is
selling
shelves.
Yeah, exactly.
No. My parents always said we were lucky enough to have parents who understood the arts and advocated for the arts.
And they basically said, pour your heart into that.
They said, if you're going to do it, you have to do it.
Good for them.
And it's something I didn't take for granted. I guess I took it for granted. Like when I was in college, I had friends who were theater majors, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I told my parents that I'm a business major," and I was like,
"You have to lie.
Why do you have to lie?
That's weird.
You're doing art, this amazing art. Like, just embrace it." And he's like, "No, my parents would never like pay this much money for me to come to this school so I could do theater."
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't understand that. But again, it's coming from a theater town. Like, it was held on a pedestal. It was an art form worth pursuing.
That's cool.
And so they always said, if you're going to do it, you have to do it. So summers, instead of jobs at a golf course or wherever, I was at the Piven Theater Workshop doing things over the summer. I did the Northwestern University, Cherub program. I taught there when I was in college. I worked for Steppenwolf. I worked for, Shakespeare Rep. I did an opera at the Lyric Opera. My sister did a bunch of operas. So did my brother. So yeah, any way we could be involved in the theater there.
You're like totally immersed, which is cool.
Yeah, and not always acting too. And that's something that I brought to our company too. Like, great, you're an actor. Learn how to write. Learn how to do these other things so that when you come back to acting, you're going to be so much more informed about the job you need to do.
And you also have a lot of respect for the people who are doing all the stuff around you.
And the same holds true for being like on set.
Yeah.
Like, you got to know what a gaffer does. You got to know what that camera guy's doing.
Right.
You got to know. That's one thing I will give credit to Scoot McNairy in season 2 of Narcos Mexico. I worked with him a lot, and he went to film school, and he started out doing commercials, and he really worked his way up, and he works hard, and he really understands the craft of filmmaking. And so when we're on set, he's not worried about himself or his lines or whatever. He's talking to the camera guy. He's like, "Oh, cool. Are you gonna, shoot it like this? And where's the focal point? And can I help you with this?" And like, he's very much involved so that there aren't different departments. It's one organism.
I didn't know that. That's really cool.
No, it's impressive. And because not everybody works like that.
Yeah.
And I guess not everybody can work like that, or else you got a bunch of assholes like,
tell you how to
camera,
do it. Yeah, I'm sure the camera guy's like,
look,
Mr. McNairy, it's okay. I got it.
Yeah, Mr. McNairy, that's the wrong end of the camera.
Yeah.
No, but people like him, that he understands the process of the filmmaking, and same holds true in theater and any sort of storytelling collaboration. I think you need to know everybody's role, at least somewhat.
Do you see yourself getting into more directing and stuff?
I would love to. Right now I'm focusing more on the acting stuff because
it's working. It's paying the bills and it's working.
Paying the bills right now, and it's working, and I love doing it. So
have you been talking to Netflix? Are you going to be around for a while? Like what? Usually in these negotiation things, it's like it could pop. It could also be one of those things. They're like, no, we love you. We have ideas for you.
The show is funny in that no one is safe ever, even if
because of writing,
where the story goes, how they're telling the story.
Because your guy's still alive in real life.
He is still alive.
So that helps a little bit for you.
Yes, that helps. I will say that I believe. I don't know what I can say.
No, it's okay. Don't ruin it. I don't want you getting sued.
I'm not planning on heading to Mexico anytime soon.
Okay.
But they're like, but we could call you because the writer they just write and go, and
right.
It goes wherever.
I don't think a lot of people know that, by the way, who watch regular TV, especially specifically series like this. People change, things change all the time.
Oh, in a second.
Like down to, like you said, that casting issue. Like, people are literally, it's amazing how much money and time and effort and is spent on making something, and yet things come down to the last second all the time, which is annoying.
And you have to change. But that's also, what do they say? When you're the most constrained, that's when you get the best art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you have everything, all the money in the world, all the people in the world, you're not going to make anything worth watching.
Right.
Because you're going to be complacent. You throw some barriers and obstacles in there, and you start having a creative mind and like being able to problem solve that as well as tell a story. So,
but what's cool about this, I think for you, and you tell me, do you feel like, because there's so many people there, it's like any other job, you start meeting all these people will notice, and they're like, yo, let's bring him on to this next thing.
Work begets work. And
do you feel like you've made some really good connections?
I feel like I've made some good friends.
That's a connection, essentially.
Yeah, that's I mean, I guess I asked two of my buddies on the show like about agents and stuff, but I it's not like I'm putting the hard press on anybody yet.
No. But, it's just camaraderie. But
no. What I love is seeing people I work with on the show, and it was also, I mean, Narcos for me was a big step up in terms of my
Narcos
career.
Is huge.
And, yeah, it's
I mean, for anybody.
I get texts from people, you know, I should compile all the pictures I have of myself on someone's TV in their living room. That they
Wait, I saw you.
Dude, what are you doing on this? And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing on it, but you know, thank you for the picture.
You should just play that up. Dude, that's a deep fake. That ain't me.
That's not me, man.
Someone took a picture of
my
me.
likeness.
That would be awesome. They'd be so pissed.
So I love watching the people on the show then in other shows. Like right now I'm watching The Outsider.
Yeah.
Which is unreal. But Yul Vasquez, who was in the first season of Narcos with me, he was the first other actor I met. And, you know, I'm like
now you're
scared.
watching.
And he was like, let me tell you how it is. Like the coolest, nicest guy in the world and just down to earth.
That's
and like,
cool.
And now I see him, like, I just root for him whenever I see him now. And in anything, even in tweets back and forth to each other. Like, we stay together. We stay tight. I feel comfortable texting or calling him day or night because I know he'd be like, hey, man, what's up?
That's awesome.
Because he's just real. And it's nice to have that kind of friendship come from a show like that. I
feel like, and I don't know how many Chicago people you know out here, but I feel like that will happen with a lot of Chicago people too. It's just there's a tightness about it.
My school, it's insane. My high school, like how many Chicago people are out here and doing incredibly well. It's obnoxious.
That's cool.
Yeah, all my buddies. I mean, you know, Ike Barinholtz.
Of course.
Yeah, we went to high school together, same year.
Didn't he grow up in Rogers Park? I haven't met him yet officially, but I know him and his brother, right?
Yeah, Johnny. Yeah, John. Yeah.
Both of them. I grew up in Rogers Park. So they grew up like
Ike and Dave and Hayes MacArthur.
No, we were talking specifically about other Chicago connections. I mean, it's a really cool, tight knit like community. So, but obviously, like you said, you're on set, you meet these people, and all of a sudden, it's like you see them doing their thing.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Is there like still that proud dad moment of like you're doing well out there?
Yes, and that's awesome. The fun thing about my dad in these moments is he comes to visit sets a lot.
Oh, he comes to visit you.
So, he came this year to Mexico City with me.
Wow.
He also visits my sister, and he finds ways to get on the shows. So
what?
He's actually in episode 4 of Narcos.
What a goof.
He just, and it's not like he's trying. Like he was
as an extra though.
A total extra.
He
was sitting in the courtroom.
Can you imagine if all of a sudden he's like, "You have the lead role." Congratulations.
Yeah, he's like, actually, I need lines if I'm going to hang around here, or else I'm not staying. No, we joked that his clothes were period, from the '80s because he never buys new clothes. They were like, "Oh, just throw them in the courtroom," and he was like, "Okay." So he sat there. He was on in Longmire and my sister's show. Yeah, so like whenever he's around. I'm trying to make him like a Trivial Pursuit answer.
He's like the Where's Waldo?
Yeah.
Where have you seen? Yeah.
Where have you seen Lee Freeman, and how many shows has he actually been in?
Can you imagine your dad's famous? Everyone's taking pictures of your dad and sending that to you.
Oh, I know. He should. I think I have a picture of him on the screen from Longmire. Anyway, so no, it's. I know he's proud of me because he supported me and all of us so much. In the process of the grind of life as an actor. But then it's also really nice when you get the emails saying, I'm so proud of you. But they're usually because there's another email attached that some friend of his saw me. Oh, I saw Clark on Narcos. Oh, he's so great. So he'll send me that. And because somebody noticed and whatever, they're like, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, no, you're just pumped that somebody's recognizing you.
You just want to show this off. Yeah,
exactly.
That's so funny. That's a total dad thing to do.
The best email he sent to me, one of the best jokes ever. This girl he dated 55 years. He hasn't seen this woman for 50 years, right? He gets an email from her. And she just says, Lee, I saw you on Narcos, Mexico. You haven't aged a day. Whatever.
Wow.
Because we look alike. And so that's such a good joke.
That is funny.
You haven't
that is Thanks, so man. Funny. She's also blind in both eyes, so it's
she's actually dead. She's actually dead.
That was.
It was a posthumous email.
Ghost@gmail.com. Yes. That is funny, dude. That's actually really. Well, see, at first before you said it was a joke, because I thought that she actually saw your dad.
That would be amazing. Because
then I was going to be like that. Your dad would send because he's just so pumped because he actually got his
I think he's mostly a blob in the back. Like you can't really see it's him. Like
out of focus.
You know it's him. You know it's him. But no, it's not like there's Lee. No.
That's funny. Have you ever gone back to Latin to speak or anything like that?
It's funny. My sister-in-law, Mary, who I spoke about before, is the principal of Sen High School.
Oh, wow. Well, I know Sen.
Yeah. So I've spoken at Sen a bunch of times, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it now? I've talked about on air about this.
Huh.
It was a military academy. What is it now?
What is Sen?
Yeah. Because
a school?
No. Sen is off of like Ridge and whatever it is, right? It's
you head up north and yeah.
Yeah, it's on the way to Lakeshore Drive. Yeah. It was a regular high school at one point, and then it became a military academy. Do you know this?
It has kind of a big. I mean, I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Because what year did you speak there? How many years ago was this?
I didn't speak this past Thanksgiving, but like the 2 or 3 before that. So it's been very recent.
So that's what I was saying. So maybe it changed back into just some regular school. Because for a minute,
my grandmother went there for a minute.
Yeah, well, dude, that's the thing. Like back in the day, Sen was actually like a pretty reputable high school, and then I think it kind of dipped. Then I think it went into this military thing, and then I think it's kind of, I don't know what it is now. But that's cool that you've spoken there.
Yeah, no.
Do they have a theater stuff going on, or?
I was actually speaking to their film class.
They have film class.
Right. I was like, how cool. They but like multiple film. Like there are like 2 or 3 sections of it.
Wow.
And they all got together, and the film teacher and I would speak, and it was very relaxed and a talk. But then not this past year, but the year before.
Were you on Narcos at that point? Because that was 3 years ago.
I was just about to. I just filmed season 1.
Got it.
Because I haven't filmed Narcos. I finished filming Narcos season 2 July 1st. So it's been almost 9 months since I've shot any of that stuff.
I'm just curious if the students ever, for post and everything, but I'm saying, did they know who you were at that point?
When I spoke to the last time, it was in the auditorium, and it was like to most of the school. It was Thanksgiving when I was there, so Narcos had been out for like 2 weeks. So it was like a new thing, and it had just come out, and the kids obviously had watched it because they had some questions about it. But
that's cool.
Yeah, no, it felt good because it wasn't just like, oh yeah, I'm an actor from Chicago talking, but like, no, I'm going to show you can actually see, and like you all may watch it. So
that's really cool. Yeah. Dude, that's like the dream, right? For everybody to go back to, Chicago high schools and talk about their times. Yeah,
I would love to go back to Latin to talk. Actually, a friend.
Everybody?
A friend who is...
Make this happen.
Yeah, let's Latin, please. Nick, a friend from, I think he was the year below me, is now like the head of the theater department at my high school. So
why doesn't he bring you back?
He hasn't called. Nick, why haven't you called?
Yeah, call him.
Come on. I think it's my 25th reunion this year, so maybe we'll make that happen.
Wow. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Have you brought your kids?
To Chicago?
So it's like for the holidays and stuff like that. But have you given them the like let's enjoy Chicago? Taking them to the Bean, taking them, did you do the?
I'm trying to think. I mean, we do. I guess taking them to the Bean like that seems like a touristy thing to do, but like, yes.
I was just asking if you've done it.
We've been in the park for. No, it's just funny you say that. Like the idea of taking the kids to do touristy things.
Yeah.
Like, I guess we never focused on it, but yeah, we'll take them for the in the summer, the concerts in the park and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Yeah, we'll hit that. Every time we drive by where I used to live, it's like, oh.
Well, that's the thing. You grew up in the heart.
Yeah.
A lot of people who sat in that chair like, I'm in this outskirts or whatever, but no, you were in the heart of it, which is really cool.
It's funny how growing up, when where are you from? Chicago. Oh, where? And I'm like, no, dude, seriously, Chicago, like downtown.
Yeah.
People live there? I'm yes, at the Rock and Roll McDonald's.
Yeah.
So we just hang out there constantly.
It's so funny.
So I think, we sold our apartment shortly after my mom passed away too, because
it's like
we weren't really, we were kind of untethered from Chicago at that point. And my dad now lives full-time in Montana. So thankfully my wife's from Chicago, so she brings me back home.
That's cool. Otherwise it's almost like there's no, it's not like there's no excuse, but you'd have less of a reason to have to go back.
True.
So that's cool that she does. Yeah. And then father-in-law with the accent.
Oh my God, Mike Beck. So good.
Are you a Cubs fan? What's the baseball fan,
I grew up going to Cubs games. But then I married a Southsider, so now I know better. So I always say now I'm a Bears fan.
That's a good answer.
I don't want to get into a fight with the in-laws. No, they're all White Sox. So no, but I grew up going to Wrigley. Here's a little trivia. I grew up going to a lot of Bears games, and I didn't know till later. Till my dad would tell me kind of the history of it. My grandfather used to general manage the Chicago Hornets, which was the football team before the Bears that used to play at Soldier Field.
Well, the Bears were the Decatur Staleys for a minute.
Yep. So but who played at Soldier Field before that was the Chicago Hornets.
Huh.
And that team ended up dissolving when the NFL came and everything changed.
And
somehow
wild.
My grandfather was like somehow in charge of that. I don't know exactly. I think it's general manager.
But you have family ties to the Bears, or essentially to Chicago
to where
Chicago
the Bears
football.
Play. Yeah. No, my dad would show me parts of. I remember when Wannstedt was coach. I think we
94.
We got field passes to go watch a Packers game, so we got to go on the field or whatever. And my dad was showing me things on the field that I never knew existed, like this little amphitheater off the back end. I don't even know if it's there anymore. Like you go through one of the tunnels, and it was like an old amphitheater, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is where I used to watch." And I'm like, "What is going on?"
Dude, it's like Harry Potter, where you didn't even realize that your family was when they were wizards.
And they'd always say, they tell me these crazy stories about Chicago or about whatever. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me about this?
Yeah,
and like, nice. You never asked. And I'm like,
how do you know?
How am I supposed to know that? Just give me a clue.
That's funny.
I'm gonna ask you a question now about, because I went to school in Vermont, and a lot of people went to my school were from Boston and huge Red Sox fans. And they went nuts over the Red Sox. We haven't won in blah 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 so many years. I'm like, it's been longer for the Cubs, but like you could never tell them that, and they wouldn't care.
Well, I always Red Sox fans. I felt like we were like cousins, right? Like, I get it. Like, we can't argue each other's pain. We just all lost for years.
Yeah.
What really is sad is Sox fans never get that love, and they never, like, when they were losing and they finally won in 2005. It was one of those things where I was really happy for Sox fans. I was happy for myself. I was happy for the city, but it was just funny because no one realized they also did not win for almost 100 years.
Yeah.
So like, was it like 1915 or what was it? I don't know. It was long. It was a really, really long time, but no one ever talked about them.
Are we talking about the Red Sox?
White Sox.
Oh, the White Sox. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really one of those things. Like, man,
like I need to tell him that the White Sox won in 2005.
No.
That's the one thing I do know.
No, 2005. No, the Red Sox won in 2000. They won a couple of years. Like, they won in 2003, 2004, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. But no, the White Sox always got shafted in that regard, which always sucks. But as for Red Sox fan, I didn't. Maybe I just never wanted to play the game of like, hey, we're a Cubs and we waited longer. I don't care.
They would play that game.
Yeah, but they're Boston people. Yeah, they're a little more hardcore, I think.
You're so political. I like it.
Well, I don't have that much to say. You should before we wrap, tell everybody where to find you and
oh, sure.
If you have any other projects that you have coming up, let us know. Anything.
Yeah, no. Narcos Mexico is on Netflix, seasons 1 and 2. Please check that out. I got a film coming up called Heart to Heart, which is basically like a Lifetime movie, so it's going to be interesting.
What's your character? Are you the lead male sex?
No, yes, I'm a half naked merman
for the whole movie.
The whole movie, I'm just half naked. No, I played a detective.
Okay,
I'm trying to figure out a crime, but I come to a nefarious end. And I'm trying to write right now. My sister and I have been working on a show.
Oh, that's cool.
For a while about our dad and more of his stories. That
is this literally called The Extra, and it's just watching him go on sets?
It is. It's all about him. It's a sequel to Ricky Gervais's Extras.
Yeah, there you go.
It just becomes singular.
Yeah, there you go.
It goes backwards. Yeah. No, that's pretty much it, and then we'll see what the next projects are.
Cool. And social media, where do you want people to find you? Or?
Oh, yeah. Real Clark Freeman is Instagram, and then Clark Freeman on Twitter.
Awesome.
Pretty much it. I got rid of Facebook because we should.
Dude, thanks so much for coming. And dude, this is awesome. I wish you the best of luck with everything, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
for sure. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. And talk to you later. Check this guy out.